Today, I'm going to share with you 5 words to help you get whatever you want. Stick around as I'm discussing my very favorite way to get specific about intention setting. Hello, and happy Wednesday. You are listening to the Manifest on Purpose show. I am your host, Kimbaley. I'm so glad that you could make it. We are still in the intention setting series, and I think I'm going to make a conversation next week where we wrap the series up. It'll be the series finale. And in today's conversation, I'm going to talk to you about being specific about setting your intentions. I've been telling you for so long about how important it is for you to be specific. Today, I'm going to share 5 letters with you to help you get more specific about your intentions. Thank you so much for sharing time and energy with me today. Thank you for all that you have invited. And thank you for subscribing here and on the website at manifestonpurpose.net. The God in me loves the God in you. Share your questions, comments, topic suggestions at my email, and it's connect, CONNECT, at Kimbaley.com. Once again, that is connect, CONNECT, at Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. I want to start off by saying to everyone who celebrates happy late 4th. Yesterday, here in the United States, we celebrated the 4th of July, also known as Independence Day. And that day happened to be a pretty significant day for me also. This day aligns with a significant milestone in my life. I remember July 4th, 2014. I got off work that morning at 7 a.m. I worked the 12-hour shift in the hospital that I was working at the time. But when I walked out to my car that morning, something different had happened. And what was different was that everything in my home that I did not give away was jam-packed in my car, ready to hit the road, ready to start a new beginning. For a few years at that point, I had casually been thinking about that move. When I say casual, it was kind of just like a thought. It wasn't really anything that I thought would really happen. But let's just say the universe, for lack of better terms, gave me a gentle push to go ahead and do it. So when I got off that morning on the 4th, instead of traveling back to the home that I normally would, I moved to Washington, D.C. I left the small rural town that I grew up in, the one where everyone knew each other, and I moved to a place that was over 4 hours away. Nobody knew me there. At the very least, I would say that I learned to step outside of my comfort zone, and I have been here since then. But let's look at some of the things that manifested this into reality, because as I was thinking about this over yesterday, I thought about some of the reasons why it happened the way it did. And there are some things that I came up with, but the main thing was that I was actually preparing for this. The months prior, I was bent on purchasing a home in the area that I was in, being a little comfortable being there at the time. I thought that would be a good route to take. One of the ways that I pay attention to that I use to manifest this is I acted as if, but for totally different reasons. I was working towards manifesting that home I wanted to purchase. So I acted as if by purchasing things to go into that home. It was mainly furniture, appliances, and necessities of a new home because I felt that when I got into this home, I didn't want to take anything from the old home into the new home. I wanted everything to be completely new. When I purchased these things, I placed them in boxes and I labeled those boxes my new home. Needless to say, instead of purchasing a new home, I did get a new home, but it was in a totally different place. It wasn't exactly what I expected, but I did get what I asked for in a vague kind of way. Hey, at least I was able to use the new furniture and the new appliances when I got my apartment. So, since I didn't purchase a new home, it may lead you to question what went wrong with the manifestation. Here's the answer to that. Nothing went wrong with the manifestation. I got what I asked for. Life has no time to be trying to figure out what you want. And that's why it's important to be specific with your manifestation. But don't even worry if you're not there yet, because if you're not, we're going to get you there today. Today, I'm going to introduce you to the method I use to set intentions. In fact, I use this method for a lot of things. It also helps with communication. It helps you to get clear on things. It helps with strategy and planning. I call it the 5W methods of setting intentions. It's kind of like a checkoff sheet to make sure that you have everything that you need for your intention to be specific. There's 5W's, and here they go. The first W is what. The second W is why. The third W is where. The fourth W is when. And the fifth W is who. I'm going to go over each of those W's and I'll share with you how I could have set up my intention using the 5W method. Now let's jump right into it. The most important W, as I'm sure you know, is the what. It's asking you what is it that you really want. And it's really not just asking what, it's asking what questions. There will be several answers here that you will have to answer. The first question is, like I said, what do you want? What color would it be? If it's a car, what model? What make? And for my example, a good thing to include in the what would have been what type of home. That would have probably helped my intention be a little bit more specific. The next question that we're going to go to is why. You remember we talked a little earlier in the series about how the why is important because it gives you passion, it motivates you. So it is important for you to have a why for every intention you set. This is the question where you answer that why. And if it's more than one reason, you just go into flow with it. Write a list, journal it out, and find out the reasons why it is that you want what you want and how can you use it to benefit others. You remember I told you that's an important part to the why. Even if my why was because I wanted to become a homeowner, I think I would have had better chances of getting exactly what I wanted. The next W is where. Now, this would have been really important for me in order to get exactly what I wanted. If I would have said where I wanted this new home to be, it would have made such a big difference. But as you heard me talk about earlier, Being in Washington, D.C. was something that I kind of thought about some. So it was still an intention. But if I would have specified that I wanted a new home and where I would have wanted it, perhaps things would have been different. I'm glad I am where I am today, but I'm just trying to figure this thing out. Use where questions. If you want a vacation, where do you want to go? If you want a job, where do you want to work at? If you want to move somewhere, where do you want to live? Use where as much as possible. And the same thing is true for the when. You should also be using when as much as possible too. I talked about that some in the last conversation. Knowing a when or setting a time limit places an urgency in your focus. It makes you want to do more or work towards getting whatever it is that you're trying to achieve by that time limit. Sometimes, if you don't put a when, you can just put it off forever. So make sure you have a time for when. I had no problem with the when. Here's how I feel about the when. If you can't set a when, you're operating from a space of fear. I had it all planned out about the time that I did want to move. And it leads me to the last one, who. And sometimes people think about the who and they automatically think that it's a relationship. Yes, it can be any kind of relationship. It could be a relationship in your family. It can be an intimate relationship. It just all depends on what your desires are. You can have a desire for anything. Also, include in the who, if you are thinking about asking a raise, who are you going to go to ask in that raise? Who are the people that you would like to or you think would assist you in getting what you want? What it all boils down to is who is going to be a part of this manifestation, if anybody but yourself. You should always include yourself. So there you have it. You have the what, the why, the when, the where, and you have the who. These are the 5 W's of intention setting. This is something that I suggest that you do. Write these down. Things tend to stick in the subconscious when you write them down. And from now on, as you are setting your intentions, make sure that you are using this list to help you formulate a specific intention. And the only thing you have to do to find out how specific your intentions is to reverse engineer. Go back and ask yourself these questions about what it is you want to see if you can answer all of these questions. If you can't answer all of these questions, that means you're not being specific enough. I usually like to tell clients, and I hope this doesn't confuse you any, but if your intention were a meal order, a meal that you ordered at a restaurant, when the waiter came back with your food, would you have exactly everything that you want on it? If you do have everything that you want on it, chances are you knew what to ask for. You were specific about your intentions, therefore, you got what it is that you wanted. And I've got good news for you. As I said earlier, I'm here to help. So if you have an intention, if there's something that you have the desire for and you're unsure if your intention is clear, you're unsure if your intentions are specific enough, email me your intentions to connect, CONNECT, at Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. I think the biggest move I ever made was the trip to Washington, D.C. Sometimes I think about how I could have been more specific and my life would be different. But I like it the way that it is. It just so happened that I ended up in a place that I really enjoy and love. And maybe even the universe knew what was best for me anyway. It's important to set specific intentions. Some people question, why is it I almost get what I want but never quite get exactly what I want? Most of the time, in that case, it's because intentions have not been set properly. They have not been specific enough. Today, I gave you the cheat code, the 5W method. It's the method that I use for everything. It only asks 5 questions: what, why, where, who, and when. There's a quote that I like: if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I like to change that quote just a little bit. If you don't set intentions, you have the potential to get anything. Don't get anything. Get exactly what you want. I love you to life. This is how you manifest on purpose. We're going to prepare for meditation in just a few, but first I want you to grab those notes that you wrote down in the beginning of the series, the one in which you determine what it is that you would like to manifest. And in today's meditation, or shall I call it focus time, I want you to focus on using the SMART, SMART method, and also the 5W method. If you've already forgotten the SMART method, go back and grab it from the last conversation. And also add that to the 5W method so that you can make sure that you have clear and specific intentions. And remember, reach out to me via email if you have a question about your intention, whether or not it is specific enough. Now let's prepare for meditation. If you are driving, this is not the time to do so. Please download this and save it for later. If you are not driving, please find your sacred space, a space that is safe for you, distraction free, the one in which you can relax and focus on your breathing. Enjoy your focus time.